A boy woke up one morning to the sound of air raid sirens blaring outside. Still groggy, he stepped out to check what was going on, just in time to see a military helicopter spiraling out of control, crashing into a nearby building. He stood frozen, eyes wide with fear. Screams erupted from every direction. He looked down from his apartment window and saw complete chaos, people running for their lives. Among them, he spotted his girlfriend. He was about to call out to her, but then he saw her tackle an elderly man to the ground and begin biting him savagely. His mind went blank. What the hell was happening? Panicked, he scrambled back into his apartment. Just then, a man barged through the door, his neighbor from next door. Breathless, the neighbor said his roommate had gone insane and begged to hide in the bathroom. Still trying to process everything, the boy noticed a bite mark on the man's neck. Something felt very wrong. He grabbed the kitchen knife, just in case. Moments later, the TV crackled to life with breaking news. A zombie virus outbreak. The infected would turn violent, bloodthirsty, and a single bite could spread the disease. Right then, the neighbor stepped out of the bathroom. HED seen the report and tried to stay calm. "I'm fine, really look, I'm still me," but a second later, his eyes turned blood minus red. His breathing changed. He was turning. The boy raised the knife, telling him to get out, barely clinging to his humanity. The neighbor obeyed. The boy slammed the door and locked it. Screams and snarls echoed from the hallway. He peeked through the peephole. His neighbor was being torn apart by a pack of zombies. Shaking, the boy collapsed to the floor, hand over his mouth. He tried calling his parents. No signal. No response. Nothing made sense anymore. In a desperate attempt to numb the fear, he drank whatever alcohol he could find. Then his phone buzzed. A message from his dad. "We're safer now. Stay inside. Stay alive." That was all the hope he needed. He blocked the door with the refrigerator, moved his bed to the living room to watch the entrance, and covered the windows with paper to avoid being seen by anything outside. Every day, he scratched marks onto the mirror, a tally to remind himself to keep surviving. But one night, he heard a noise from the bathroom. Grabbing a baseball bat, he slowly crept toward the sound, only to find a zombie crawling out of the ventilation shaft. Terrified, he hid, barely daring to breathe, as the zombie limped across the living room. When he turned its back, he struck. His first zombie kill, he was shaking. Once it was done, he dumped the body off the balcony and sealed the vent with a surfboard. He never thought they'd come from there. As days passed, food ran low. Then the water stopped running. His will to keep going started to crack. And just as he reached his lowest point, his mom called. He rushed to answer, only to hear screaming on the other end. Something had gotten to them. He dropped the phone. His parents were probably gone. Snapping, he smashed everything in sight. But it wasn't enough. He wanted revenge. Grabbing his bat, he flung open the door and charged outside. There on the ground, he saw a zombie crawling. As he raised his bat, he realized it was his neighbor. Still not dead, still suffering. Before he could react, an entire horde heard the noise and charged. Panic took over. He sprinted back into his apartment, barely slamming the door shut in time. That night, he sat in the dark, trying to light a cigarette. But then, the lights flickered out. He looked outside. The entire city had lost power. His last shred of hope vanished with the light. The next morning, he tore down the paper on the windows, letting sunlight pour into the room. He made a decision. If he was going to die, he wanted to do it as a human. He stood on a stool, tied to rope, and just as he was about to kick it away, he saw something moving outside.